Hi there, today we're looking at more geometry. We're going to be talking about complementary and supplementary angles, okay? Oftentimes I tell people when you get something right, you'll probably get a compliment. Well, when you get something right, like a right angle, you're probably going to get a compliment. So complementary deals with 90-degree angles. Supplementary means you're dealing with 180 degrees or a straight line when it's all said and done. Okay, so those are the two things we're talking about here. Two angles are complementary if the sum of their angles is 90, and two are supplementary if the sum of their angles is 180. Okay, so complementary is going to be equal to 90, supplementary is going to be equal to 180. Okay, just what we're looking at here. So they might give you, for example, here, usually the angles aren't separate, they're in the same problem. But if I have a 30, and a 150-degree angle, and I said, are these angles complementary, supplementary, or neither? I would simply add 150 and 30, so 150 plus 30, and I have 180, so because it's 180, that's going to be a supplementary angle. Over here, I can see I have a 16 and 74, so I just add them up, 10, 90, and because I'm at 90 there, I'm going to say that's going to be a complementary angle. And that's all you're doing. If someone's asking whether two angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither, you're just adding up those two numbers to see if they equal 90 or 180, like our example shows there. With that information, though, you can solve for values that are not given. So in an example here, it says, since the two angles form a straight line. Well, what does straight line mean? Straight line means that you have 180 degrees from here to here. That's 180 degrees, the whole thing. So, since that's the case, can we find out what the value is there? Sure we can. We would just set up basically an algebra problem. We have 35 degrees on this side, plus the 5x on this side. When those are combined, it gives us the supplementary angle, which is 180 degrees. Now we can solve for x. I subtract 35, so I have 5x over here equals, subtract, 10 minus 5 is 5, 7 minus 3 is 4, 145. We divide both sides now by 5. This x is equal to 29. So that's just the value there. This angle measurement is not 29. The angle measurement is actually 29 times 5, right? Which is going to be 145. Because this is 145, and that's 35 for the combined of 180. So you can use some algebra to help you solve for unknown angle measurements when they give you a variable in that place there, working with what you know about complementary, supplementary angles, and what those values are. Let's take a look at a couple more examples before you jump into your homework. It says identify each pair of angles as complementary, 90, supplementary, straight 180, or neither. Okay, so 3 and 4. Well, when I put those together, do I have a straight line right there? Well, it sure does look like a straight line to me, so we would say that's going to be supplementary. This one, we have a 40 and a 50. 40 plus 50 is 90, so that's going to be complementary. Next, we have 120 and 70. Well, that's 190. So that's not going to be 180, so it's going to be a neither. It doesn't work for any of them. It's an angle, it works together, but it's not one of these special ones. Okay, let's look at some algebra figures to solve. Number 4, we're supposed to remember from the last lesson that these two angles are vertical angles. Because they're vertical, that means they equal each other. So 36 is equal to 6x. Two lines intersect. The angles here across each other are vertical. They're the same. Okay? So this angle equals this angle. So now we can solve for x. Divide by 6, divide by 6. So 6 equals x. That's 1, 36 divided by 6 is 6. So I can solve for that one to say that's what it's going to be. Okay? Over here, similar thing. We know in this case here that from here to here we have what? We have a supplementary angle. It's going to be equal to 180 degrees. So the 4x plus the 56 is equal to 180. So now we have a two-step equation. We'll subtract 56 from both sides. So that 4x equals, subtract 17. 10 minus 6 is 4, 7 minus 5 is 2. So 4x equals 124. Not done yet. Divide by 4. And x equals 31. Alright, so that's 31. Again, some problems might actually say, what is this angle measurement here? Well, if this is 56, this becomes 180 minus 56, which is over here, for 124. So sometimes you have to find what x is, sometimes I want you to find what that measurement of that angle is going to be. So be comfortable with both. On this next one, we see we have a 90-degree angle right there, and we're going to combine both of those together to be 90. So we can take the 22 degrees we have, plus the 2x, and set that equal to 90 to make an algebraic equation. Let's subtract 22 from both sides. So we have 2x equals, in this case here, we're going to borrow, and we're going to have 68. So now we divide both sides by 2. And x is going to be equal to, 2 goes in there 3 times and 4 times, so x is equal to 34. And again, the value there is 22, the value here is 68 degrees for each one of those parts, but they combine to be what? To be 90. Okay, so those are your examples. I'll let you kind of use that and make sure you know what's going on with your supplementary and complementary angles and how that works. Make sure we know which is which and use that to do today's homework. Okay, good luck. Alright, here we go. Working with complementary supplementary angles. Here's your homework. Alright, so in this case here, we have a 180. So we know altogether it's 180. So we can set up as an algebra problem if we want. We have x plus 127 equals 180. We subtract 127 from both sides. And x is equal to, borrow, 53 degrees right there. Number 2, we have x plus 42 equals 90 because it's complementary. So we subtract 42, and x is equal to, in this case here, 48. Number 3, we have a 90-degree complementary, so 25 plus x is equal to 90. We're going to subtract 25 from both sides, so that x equals, subtract, 65 degrees. Number 4, we have x plus 42 equals 90. So we're subtract 42, subtract 42, so that x equals 48 degrees. Number 5, we have 85 plus x equals 180. We'll subtract 85 from both sides. X is equal to, in this case here, gotta borrow that up. We're gonna go with 7 there. We're gonna put 95 degrees. Okay, this next one's a little weird, right? But we have 10 plus x equals 180. So again, it's the whole thing. So we subtract 10, so x equals 170 degrees. Number 7, we have a 45 plus an x plus a 65 all together, makes a straight line, equals 180. So 45 plus 65 is 110 plus x equals 180. I'll subtract 110, so that x is equal to 70 degrees. Number 8. Same idea, we have 43 plus a 43 plus an x equals 180. It's a nice straight line there. So that combines to be 86 plus x equals 180. We'll subtract 86, so x equals, I'm going to borrow there, 10 minus 6 is 4, 17 minus 8 is 9, x equals 94. Number 9, we have a 90-degree angle, so x plus 24 equals 90. Let's subtract 24, x is equal to, borrow there, 66 degrees. And they should all be degrees technically. Okay, number 10, find Hjl. These are great problems. We gotta find out what it says. We have HJL, so we're looking for this space right there. So HJL is a combination of 90 plus 60, which is 150 degrees for HJL, because those are given. HJL and LJM, which is here, are what type of angles? Well, a couple things. We could say that amount plus that amount, so 150 plus 30, I should write this a lot nicer, so sorry. Happens when you're tired and what it is. 150 degrees plus 30 degrees equals 180 degrees. So we would say that they are supplementary. That's one thing we could say about them. You could also say that they are adjacent as well, couldn't you? Because they are beside each other. Those are two things you'd say. For this lesson, they're probably looking for supplementary. Can you find the value of KJM? KJM. Sure. Well, KJM is here, that whole thing, which means we're combining the 60 plus the 30 to make 90 degrees there. You also don't even need to add it, because if you notice here, they already put the 90-degree marker right there in that corner that tell us that. Okay, and finally, KJL, so this amount, and LJM, that amount, are what type of angles? We would say they are complementary angles. You could also say if they're adjacent, that's fine too, but again, they're probably looking for complementary. Alright, that's it for today's lesson. Have a great day. We will see you next time.